The best pieces of life advice from Family Guy characters. Hey guys, welcome back to Bubbly Toons. Fans love Family Guy's jokes, but the show also contains some nuggets of wisdom, crammed between the toilet humor and Peter-related problems. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the best pieces of life advice you need to pick from the Family Guy show. Stay tuned and watch the video right till the end. Before we begin, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Also turn on the bell for the latest notifications. Make sure you never miss another video. With that said, let's begin. Embrace stoicism. After seeing how easy it is to drive a car, Stewie takes Brian's car for a drive. One of the worst things Stewie has ever done, resulting in him getting into an accident. Stewie is too scared to tell Brian what he has done and tries to pretend that he is not responsible for the damage. However, he is forced to admit that it was him who damaged the car after Brian retrieves a still buckled in Rupert from the vehicle. Despite Stewie's pleas, Brian says that he is going to tell Lois and Peter that Stewie drove the car. Brian encourages Stewie to behave maturely by adopting a stoic approach to the problem. Sometimes in life, you just have to accept what's coming to you, he counsels Stewie. Like the contestant who gets the lesser suitcase on The Price is Right. Don't try to rush your life. We all know how bad Meg is bullied on the show. When Brian takes Meg to her high school dance and defends her from the school bully, Connie D'Amico, Meg develops an unhealthy obsession with Brian, culminating in her kidnapping him. After the family rescue Brian, Lois tells Meg to visit Quagmire for some advice. Quagmire welcomes Meg into his home and surprisingly, he launches into a heartfelt conversation. There's no reason to grow up too fast, he tells her. Teenage girls are exposed to all this stuff, and I can see how a relationship looks glamorous, but you've got all the time in the world, he says, before gifting Meg a copy of the book The Missing Piece. Cherish what you have. When Brian begins having problems with incontinence, he goes to see a psychiatrist, who determines that Brian is having a midlife crisis. Brian tries to add meaning to his life by traveling and feels recharged upon his return. Stewie, however, frames Brian by urinating on the carpet, and Brian returns to therapy. In therapy, he admits that he is in love with Lois. Later in the episode, Brian tries to talk about the situation with Lois, who is aware of his feelings but does not reciprocate them. Lois, Brian asks, "Did your heart ever want to ask something, but your head was too afraid of what the answer might be?" Lois replies that sometimes it's best not to ask those questions. Sometimes we should cherish what we already have, she says, rejecting Brian in the nicest possible way. Personal growth isn't always easy. When Cleveland becomes a therapist, Peter sees it as his way to manipulate Lois. However, things don't go as Peter anticipates when Cleveland tells Lois that Peter is the problem. Peter tries to help out more around the house and spends more time with Lois, but soon tires of making the extra effort. At the bar with his friends, Peter complains that thanks to Cleveland's advice, he has to spend more time with Lois. Peter shares his complaints with Cleveland. "I'm sorry it's hard for you, Peter," Cleveland says. But personal growth isn't always easy. Unfortunately, Cleveland's stint as a therapist ended abruptly when Peter threatened to tell Cleveland's wife, Donna, about Cleveland's bachelor party unless Cleveland stopped giving honest advice. Be powerful. In one of Family Guy's most disturbing episodes, Quagmire's sister visits him in hospital. Once Quagmire is recovered and back at home, his sister, Brenda, and her boyfriend, Jeff, stay with him. It quickly becomes obvious that Jeff is emotionally and physically abusive to Brenda. Concerned that one day Jeff will go too far, Quagmire seeks help from his friends and an intervention is arranged. During the intervention, Quagmire tearfully tells Brenda that the sister he loved in childhood no longer exists because she has been replaced by Jeff's punching bag. "A woman is a strong, beautiful, vibrant creature," he tells her. "A woman embraces life. A woman makes choices to make her life better," he adds, implying that Brenda needs to make a wise choice and leave her abusive boyfriend. Reach for the stars. Peter goes into a coma after falling down the stairs with a couch stuck to his back. He meets God and asks for a second chance, which God allows. After a disastrous dinner and drive home with his family, during which Peter blurts out that he hates them all. Peter thinks that God will kill him. He shares a few kindnesses with his family in his moment of fear. Peter gives Lois, Meg, and Stewie less than ideal advice. Finally, Peter turns to Chris. "Whenever you're feeling defeated, I want you to reach for the stars," he tells Chris earnestly, giving what would have been good advice until he adds Sky and Hutch DVD that fell behind the entertainment center. You are who you are. After getting harassed about his weight, Chris goes on a diet and exercise plan, which doesn't work. Peter decides to take Chris to see a surgeon about getting liposuction. But Chris ultimately decides to stick with his exercise and diet plan, and Peter is the one who gets liposuction. Although Peter loves his new slimmer look, Lois is less than thrilled. While talking to Peter in the kitchen, she says, "It doesn't matter if your nose is a little bulbousy, or if your eyes are too close together, or your chest is flabby. You are who you are," trying to point out that it's better to accept yourself as you are rather than to rush out and get surgery in an attempt to be accepted. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.